Hello guys, welcome to Bhavna's Online Academy. So today in this session we are going to see the economics, that is economics for finance, numerical sums. So in your exam 10 to 12 marks are usually covered with the sums only other than your theory. So it's very important that you understand and know how to solve each and every sum. So in this session we'll be covering all the past attempts, that is from May 2018, all the past attempts, RTPs, and also the question paper questions we are going to cover. So I think this session will be just enough for you to solve all the sums that's going to come in your future examinations. So watch till the end and get the whole benefit out of it. So yes, so let's start with the session now. Okay, so first we are going to start with May 2018 paper. Okay, so this is the question number 1. So question number 1 is calculate the marginal propensity to consume and marginal propensity to save from the following data. Okay. So here they have given you the income and they have given you the consumption, and they have told that your income first was 8,000, then it changed to 12,000. Consumption first it was 6,000 and then it changed to 9,000. So this is the information that has been given in the question. So first what they have told us is to calculate MPC and MPS. So what is the formula of MPC? It is a change in consumption by change in income, and the formula for MPS, finding out marginal propensity to save, is change in savings by change in income. Okay, so now what we are going to find out, first we'll find out what is the change in income. So your change in income will be 12,000 minus, it is going to be 12,000 minus 8,000. That means your change in income is 4,000. Okay, now we'll find the change in consumption. Your change in consumption is 9,000 minus 6,000. Your change in consumption is 3,000. Okay, so now from this data we can find out MPC. So MPC is going to be change in consumption by change in income, as I already told you. So change in consumption is 3,000 by change in income is 4,000. So this is going to be 0.75. So your MPC you have found out, which is 0.75. Okay. In the question they have also told you to find out MPS. We all know a formula that MPC plus MPS equal to 1. So using this formula, if you find out, your MPS is going to be 0.25. Okay. So the question number 1 is over. Easy question. It has come for 2 marks in the exam. It is quite easy question only. Okay. We'll move on to question number 2. So in question number 2, they tell you that suppose in an economy, they have given you a consumption function. They have told you investment spending, government spending, tax, transfer payments, exports, imports. Okay. Then down they have told you where Y and YD are national income and personal disposable income. All figures are in rupees. Okay. All the information and details they have given you. They have below told you that find the equilibrium level of national income. They have told you to find out consumption at equilibrium level and also net exports at equilibrium level. Okay. So first we are going to start by finding out equilibrium level of national income. Okay. So what is the equilibrium level of national income? It is nothing but where your, once again. So it is nothing but where your aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. So this is your equilibrium level of national income. So your aggregate supply is going to be Y, and your aggregate demand is going to be C plus I plus G plus X minus M. I hope you all of you know this equation. Okay, so using this equation only, now we are going to solve the first one. Okay, so first we have to start by finding out the C here. So here, see in the question, they have told you that C equal to 150 plus 0.75 YD. Here they have not given you Y, rather they have given you YD. YD is nothing but your personal disposable income. See here they have told you YD is personal disposable income. Okay, so YD is nothing but your personal disposable income. Okay, so here, so once again, yes. Okay, so here what we do is that, so to find out Y, what we can do is, so what is the formula of YD? YD equal to income minus tax plus transfer payments. Note down this formula, guys. It is going to be helpful in a lot of places. Okay, so how do you find personal disposable income? It is nothing but income minus tax plus transfer payments. Okay, so then from the question we will derive this. So y equal to y minus, what is the tax in the question? They have given you tax equal to 20 plus 0.20y. So it is going to be 20 plus 0.20y. Okay, plus transfer payments. Do you have any transfer payments? Yes, you have. Your transfer payments are 40. So plus 40. So your YD equal to, if you simplify this, your YD is going to be 20 plus 0.8y. 0.8y. So this will be your YD. So now what we are going to do is, we are going to write our consumption function. So what will be your consumption function? Your consumption function in the question, what it was 150 plus 0.75 YD. So we have changed that in the terms of y here, and now we are going to substitute it in this place. So it is going to be 150 plus 0.75. Why? What is YD? YD is nothing but, here we have found out, right? So it is 20 plus 0.8y. Okay. Okay, sorry guys. Yes, so what will be your consumption function? If you simplify now, your consumption function is going to be 165 plus 0.65. So this is going to be your consumption function. So what we have done until now, I'll just give you a recap. So in the question, what we have done is, in case given, right, rather than giving directly y in the consumption function, they had given us personal disposable income. So what we did, we converted that into income. In the form of income, we have converted it. How did we convert? We applied a formula that personal disposable income YD equal to y minus tax plus transfer payments. When we did that, we got YD equal to 20 plus 0.8y. Then simplifying it using the consumption formula, we got C equal to 165 plus 0.65. Okay. So now nothing, you have to just come here and substitute it in the equation. So your y is going to be C. C is, what is C? 165 plus 0.65. And then you have to add your investment. So in the question, they have given you I. What is the investment? Investment is 100. So plus 100. Next, you have to add your government spending. So government spending is 115. So add 115. Then you have to do net exports. So it is exports minus imports. Here in the question, your exports is 35 minus you have to do imports. What is your imports? Your imports is 15 plus 0.1 by. Okay. So this is the equation that you will get. What will happen is, if you solve this, so here I'm not going to solve all the equations. We don't want to consume much time. You can sit and solve by yourself. Okay. So if you solve these equations, you will get y equal to 800. So you get y equal to 800. So what is the equilibrium level of national income? Where AD equal to AS and AD and AS will be equal to 800. So this is your first answer. So the answer of first one is y equal to 800. Okay. So now then we are going to move on to the second one. Second one, they have told us to find out consumption at equilibrium level. So what was our consumption function? Our consumption function was 165 plus 0.65. So at equilibrium level, what will be the consumption function? They have asked it. So it's C equal to 165 plus 0.6. Here at equilibrium level, your y is 800. So you just have to substitute that. 800. So if you do this, you will get your consumption function at equilibrium level will be C equal to 645. Okay, first one we have completed, second one we have completed. Third one, they have told us to find out net exports at equilibrium level. Net exports at equilibrium level will be nothing but x minus m. So x they have already told us. You can use this thing which is given. Okay, this was x minus m only, right? So it will be 35 minus 15 plus 0.1. Why? Here, since you have to find net exports at equilibrium level, what will you do? You will substitute the y which is at equilibrium level. It is nothing but 800. So if you do so, and if you like solve this equations, you will get a net exports of minus 60. You will get a net exports of minus 60. What does minus 60 means? Minus 60 means your imports are greater than exports. That means there is an adverse balance of trade. Okay, so they have just told us to find out the net exports. It is nothing but minus 60. That means your imports are greater than exports. So all the 3 points of question number 2 we have solved. So we'll move on to the third question also. That is what is our second question. So third question. So in third question, what they have asked you? They have asked you that from the following data, compute the gross national product at market price. That is nothing but GNP, NP. They have told you to find out using value added method. Okay, and they have given you a few values here. So what is the formula of value added method? How do you find out using value added method? So your formula for value added method is nothing but value of output minus intermediate consumption. This is your formula for value of output. Value of output can also be again written as sales plus change in stock. Okay, this is your formula for value added method. Value of output minus intermediate consumption. So here what they have given you in the question is they have given you value of output of secondary sector, intermediate consumption of primary sector, value of output in tertiary sector, intermediate consumption in secondary sector. NFIA they have given you, then they have given you value of output in primary sector, then they have given you intermediate consumption in tertiary sector. So like this they have given you. Okay, so before we move on by solving the question, here what you have to remember is, from if you do value added method, the answer that you are going to get from is nothing but GDP MP only. Okay, and after that we have to do a few adjustments and find out GNP MP. Okay, so first we'll find out GDP NP. So first what we'll do, first we'll take your primary sector. So in primary sector, if you do value of output minus intermediate consumption, what will be? So primary sector value of output is 800, and then intermediate consumption of primary sector is 300. So you have to do 800 minus 300, which is nothing but 500. Then again you have to take secondary sector. Secondary sector value of output minus intermediate consumption. Value of output of secondary sector is here 1000 minus intermediate consumption will be 400. Intermediate consumption here it is 400. If you do that, you will get 600. Then again for tertiary sector, you have to take tertiary sector value of output. Here they have given you 3000 minus, you have to do intermediate consumption of tertiary sector, which is 900 minus 900. So by doing this, you will get 2100. Okay. So now if you add all of this, you will get a total of 3200. So this is nothing but GDP MP. What you have to find out, actually they have asked you in the question, is GNP NP. GNP MP you have to find out. So this D which is there, you know, in the middle, you have to convert this into N. So that means you have to convert domestic into national. If you have to convert domestic into national, then in such case, what will you do? You will do plus NFIA. For converting domestic into national, you have to do plus NFIA. In the question, they have given you NFIA is minus 100. So you'll take it as minus 100. And then if you solve this, you will get a GNP MP of 3100. So this is your third question, 3-mark question, which was asked in the exam. Quite easy question only. Okay, so this was your May 18 paper, guys. Now we are moving to your November 2018 paper. Okay, so in November 2018 paper, once again, so they have asked you a question. This is regarding your money. Okay, so here they have told you that the RBI has published the following data as on 31st March 2018. You are required to compute what? You are required to compute M4. Okay. So first we will see what is the formula of M4. We will start from M1. What is the formula of M1? M1 is nothing but your CC plus DD plus other deposits. That is nothing but cash plus demand deposits plus other deposits. What is your M2? Your M2 is M1 plus saving deposit at post office bank. What is your M3? Your M3 is nothing but again M1. It is not M2, guys. It is M1. It is M1 plus time deposits at commercial banks. Okay. Then finally you have M4. M4 is nothing but M3 plus total deposits that you have with the post office bank. Here you have to remember one thing, that you have to exclude national savings certificate. So that is about M1, M2, M3, M4. In the question they have asked you to find out
M4. Okay, so in the question they have asked you to find out M4. So let's start by finding out M4. So for finding out M4, what you should know? You should know M3. For finding out M3, what you should know? You should know M1. So we'll start by solving with our M1. What is M1? M1 is nothing but your currency, your cash, plus demand deposits, plus other deposits. So in the question, we'll see where you have these. So M1 is currency with the public, plus demand deposits with the bank, plus other deposits with RBI. So let's do this. What is M1? M1 is 112.206.6 plus your demand deposit, which is 193,300.4 plus other deposits. Other deposit is 614.8. So if you do this, you will get your M1. So what is your M1? We don't need to find this. We'll directly substitute it in M3 and find out. So M3 is nothing but M1, whatever you have found above, and plus you have to do time deposits. Okay, where is time deposits? Here you have time deposits, net time deposits with the bank. So if you do M1 plus 267 301.2, you will get your M3. So now finally you have to find out M4. M4 is nothing but M3, which you have found above, that is M1 plus this statement, and plus M3 plus you will, what is the last thing that you have to add? Total deposits with the post office bank, right? So that is nothing but your post office saving deposits. It is nothing but 277.5. Okay, so if you do this, you will get your M4. If you do this, the final answer here will be 573,701.5. Also, always remember, whenever you give the answer, remember to add the denomination here also. It is in crores. Okay, it is in crores. So just do this also. Add whatever the value is. Okay, if it is crores, add the crores. If there is lakhs, add lakhs. Okay, because if you don't add this in the exam, they might reduce a few marks. So this is how we solve our fourth question, and our fourth question is solved. I hope you guys don't have any doubts in this. Next, we are going to move on to question number 5. So in question number 5, the table given below shows the number of labor hours required to produce sugar and rice in two countries X and Y. So here they have given you that this is country X, this is country Y. Here you have for producing 1 unit of sugar, you use two labor hours. Here see they have given you the number of labor hours. So for producing 1 unit of sugar in country X, you use two labor hours. The same way in country X, for producing 1 unit of rice, you use 4 labor hours. In country Y, for producing 1 unit of sugar, you use 5 labor hours. And in country Y, for producing 1 unit of rice, you use 2.5 labor hours. Okay, so this in the terms of hours they have given you. Here they have asked you that compute the productivity of the labor in both the countries in respect of both commodities. So they have told you to find productivity. Here productivity, this productivity is nothing but in 1 hour, how much are you able to produce? How much are you able to produce? So this is nothing but your productivity in 1 hour, how much you are able to produce. So first let's find out that. So what they have told you, they have country X, they have country Y, they have sugar here, and they have rice here. So first we'll start with country X, sugar. So they tell you that they produce 1 unit of sugar in 2 hours. That means their productivity is 0.5. In Y, they produce 1 unit of sugar in 5 hours. That means their productivity is 0.2. In X, they produce rice, 1 unit of rice in 4 hours. That means their productivity is 0.25. Whereas in Y, they produce 1 unit of rice in 2.5 labor hours. That means their productivity is 0.4. Okay. So this is the productivity. This was the first thing they had asked us in the question. So we have done that. So the second thing that they have asked us in the question is, which country has an absolute advantage in production of sugar? So now you have to see, by seeing this, which country do you think has an absolute advantage in sugar? So if you know, you have to see the productivity of sugar. So X productivity is 0.5, whereas Y's productivity, country-wise productivity is 0.2. That means definitely for the productivity, the absolute advantage in the production of sugar is going to go to country X only, because its productivity is more. Okay. The third question they have asked you, which country has an absolute advantage in the production of rice? For sugar, it was country X. For rice, which country it is, you have to see the productivity again. So country X productivity in rice is 0.25. Country Y productivity in rice is 0.4. So which country has an absolute advantage? You have to see. Okay, that means whichever country has more productivity. Here in this case, the answer is Y. Y has more productivity than X in case of rice. So that's why Y has an absolute advantage. So this also we have finished. So the question number 5 also we have done. The same way you have a question number 6 here, but the question number 6 is from the November 19 RTP paper. It's a similar question. It's a question which is similar to question number 5 that we have seen now. Okay, we'll read that. So here they have given you that table below shows the output of wheat and rice by using 1 hour of labor time in country A and country B. So they have told you there is country A, country B, they have wheat and rice. And here what has happened is here directly they have given you productivity itself. They have told you quintal per hour. That means in per hour how many quintals they are able to produce. So directly here they have given you the productivity. You don't need to do this first step and find out productivity here. Directly they have given you that quintal per hour how much they are able to do. So for wheat it is 10, in country B it is 5, for rice in country A it is 5, in country B it is 10. Okay, so remember what is the difference in both questions. Here they have given you different labor hours, that means total labor hours for 1 unit, whereas here they have directly told you in 1 hour how much they are able to produce. So that directly they have given you productivity. So down they have asked you which country has an absolute advantage over the country in production of wheat. Can you guys tell me which country has an absolute advantage over the production of wheat and which country has absolute advantage for the production of rice? So you have to compare between country A and country B. If you compare between country A and country B, for wheat, who has an advantage? Country A has an absolute advantage. Whereas for country B, who has an advantage in case of rice? I mean, in case of rice, who has an advantage? Country A or country B? Country B has an advantage because their productivity is higher. Okay. And which good they should obtain through international trade. So here they are asking which country should buy what. Okay, so here they are asking which country should buy what. So here what they are trying to tell you is that they are saying that country A should only produce wheat and buy rice from country B. Whereas for country B, they tell you that you should only produce rice and you can buy your you can buy your wheat from country A. So this is what they are trying to tell you. So A has an absolute advantage. That means one second, guys. Here they have told you that absolute advantage over a country in the production of rice. Okay, that we have seen which country has absolute advantage. See this line. So if both the nations can engage in trade with each another, that means if both nations can produce one thing and trade the other with each other, the nation will specialize in what they have absolute advantage. So country A will specialize in wheat, country B will specialize in rice. Okay, and they can obtain the other commodity. That means country A can obtain the rice from country B and country B can obtain wheat from country A through international trade. So this is what they are trying to tell you in the question number 6 here. Okay. So that was the same like question number 5. Now we'll move on to question number 7. So in question number 7, they tell you that in a 2-sector model economy, business sector produces 7,500 units at an average of price ₹7. What is the money value of output? So first we will see what is the 2-sector model economy. It is nothing but where you have only firms, that is your business and household. Okay, you only have 2 sectors in the economy. What they tell you is business sector is producing 7,500 units at average price of 7. So what will be the price of output? Easily you can say what will be the money value, that is price of output. It is going to be 7,500 units into average price of 7. So what is 7,500 into an average price of 7? It is 52,500 rupees. Okay. So next what they tell you is what is the money income of households. So what happens in a two sector economy is that So what happens is the households, the household, whoever is there, they provide a few factor services to the firms, for which the firms pay them in return. Okay, the firms pay the households this for the services in return, which is known as factor payments. So that only they are asking here, what is the factor payments? That means what is the money income of the households, they are asking this. So here the firms have produced in total of 52,500 rupees. Okay, so here they have produced a total of 52,500 rupees worth of goods. That means that much money they would have, that much money they would have given as factor payment to the household, right? Because here what happens, so whatever the firm is going to spend on making the good, whatever is their cost, they are going to give it to the households only. Okay, I'll say this in a more clearer way. So what will happen is, there is firm. Okay, so the firm, what it has done is, it has spent 52,500 rupees. What it has spent 52,500 rupees in land, labor, machinery, men. So in all of these things, firm would have spent 52,500 rupees. Okay, so from whom they would have it got all of these services, from whom it would have got from households only. So this firm is going to do nothing but pay this 52,500 rupees to households for giving this services. So what is the money income of households? Again, the money income of households is 52,500. Yes. Do you guys have any doubt in that? Yes, rent, wages and everything is going to get included. Okay, that I've told in men. Do you guys have any doubt in what is money income of households? I hope you don't have. If you have, you can ask me. Okay. Okay. The third one here, what they tell you is, the households, if they spend 75% of their income, what is the total consumer expenditure? So here what happens, usually in a two-sector economy, what we have learned is that whatever households is going to get from the firm as their factor payments, again they are going to spend the same amount as their consumer expenditure. But here what they have told you, rather than spending the whole amount of 52,500, here households are only going to spend 72% of it. So what is 72% of 52,500? I mean 75%. 75% of 52,500 is 39,375. So here what they tell you is, 39,375 is what households are going to spend in the firm again. So what is the consumption expenditure that we have found out? So households consumption expenditure is 75%. That is nothing but 39,375. Okay. Next they have asked you, what is the total money revenue received by the business sector? So what will be the total money revenue which is received by the business sector here is, how much ever household is going to give back to the firm. Here household is giving back to the firm 39,375 only. So using that money only, firm will also be able to produce, right? So here the total money revenue which is received by the firm is nothing but 39,375. It is whatever the household is going to give the firm, that is only their revenue, right? So it is nothing but 39,375. The final is, what should happen to the level of output? So here first what happened, first the firm produced worth 52,500 and gave it to households, but households only spent 75% of it again and gave it to the firm. So firm as revenue had only got 39,375 in the second round. So what happened, now they will only be able to produce goods worth 39,375. Okay, so here what will happen, the production of the goods or the level of output, whatever is there, it is going to decrease. It is going to decrease. Why is it going to decrease? Due to the leakage, that is 25%, because the household did not give it as revenue to the business sector. The output will also reduce due to the shortage in money or leakage. Okay, so this was our 7th question. So question number 8. So in question number 8, what they have asked you is, what calculate the average propensity to consume and average propensity to save, and they have given you income and consumption. So what is the formula for average propensity to consume? Average propensity to consume is nothing but consumption by income. What is your average propensity to save formula? It is nothing but savings by income. Okay, so also you have another formula where average propensity to consume plus average propensity to save equal to 1. Okay, so now here they have given you income and consumption, so we can find out average propensity to consume. What is the consumption? It is 3000. By what is the income? 4000. So average propensity to consume is 0.75. So now using this formula, we can find out average propensity to save. So average propensity to save will be nothing but 0.25. Okay, so this was the 8th question. It is very simple question. You have to find out only average propensity to consume and average propensity to save. Okay, now we are going to move on to the 9th question. Okay, so this is a little bit of a different question. You can like see this. Okay, so here they have told you that the nominal exchange rate of India is 56 rupees for $1. And the price index in India is 116 and the price index in USA is 112. What will be the real exchange rate of India? So what will be the formula for this? So what will be the formula for this? You have to remember this formula. N by R equal to F by D. So this is nothing but a non-resident has a FD. How will you remember this formula? Non-resident has a FD. So now what is the formula here? N is nothing but your nominal exchange rate. R is nothing but your real exchange rate. Here F is, once again, so here F is foreign price index and D is nothing but your domestic price index. Okay. Price index. So what is this formula? Normal exchange rate by real exchange rate equal to foreign price index by domestic price index. So this is a formula. How will you remember this? Non-resident has a fixed deposit. This is how you have to remember this. Okay. So here what is the nominal exchange rate given in the question? It is 56 rupees. By real exchange rate is what you have to find. So I'll do by R. What is the foreign price index? The foreign price index is nothing but 112. What is the domestic price index? It is 116. So if you solve these equations, you will get your real exchange rate, which is equal to 58 rupees. Your real exchange rate is 58 rupees. So this is one of the questions which you can note down. This is a different question. Okay. Yes. So now we have completed our May 18 and November 18 question paper questions. Now we are going to move on to your May 2019 question paper question. Okay. Yes. So here they have given you that consumption function is this. They have given you investment, they have given you net inputs, and they have told you to find out equilibrium level of output. So I've already told you what is the equilibrium level of output. Once again. So your equilibrium level of output is nothing but aggregate demand equal to aggregate supply. So or you can also write it as aggregate supply equal to aggregate demand. So what is aggregate supply? Aggregate supply is your income. What is your aggregate demand? Aggregate demand is nothing but C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Okay. So here you have to find out the equilibrium level. So here Y will be equal to your consumption function. What is your consumption function? It is 300 plus 0.75 Y. This is your consumption function. Plus you have an investment of 800. Here you don't have a government spending, so it is 0. And then finally you have net imports. Remember, if you do X minus M, you will get only net exports. Okay, this is net exports, X minus M. Here they have given you net imports. That means here imports it's more than exports. That means it is minus 100. So if you do this, you will get a Y of 4000. Okay, you will get a Y of 4000. So this will be your equilibrium level of output. It is nothing but income 4000. Okay. Yes, that was also a simple question. Now we'll move on to the question number 11. So in question number 11, they have told you to find out M1. They have told you to find out M1. Okay. So M1, what was the formula for M1? M1 equal to cash plus demand deposits plus other deposits. So it's CC plus GD plus OD. Okay, so M1 is currency with the public plus demand deposits with the bank plus it is other deposits with RBI. So if you do this plus this, you will get your M1. Your M1 will be nothing but 376.419.4 crores. a simple question only, right? Finding out M1, this and all is it's of no use. Only the three things that you need, you have to pick up from the question and use it. Okay. Now we'll move on to the question number 12. So question number 12, they have told you to find GNP at factor cost and NDP at market price using expenditure method. They have told you to find out using expenditure method, and they have given you a whole lot of details. Okay. So using expenditure method, how will you find out expenditure method? So using expenditure method, what will you find out? Oh, private final consumption expenditure plus you will have your government final consumption expenditure, and then you will have finally gross domestic fixed capital formation. Right, this is your formula. So now from the question we'll start picking up it. Okay, picking up, and also you'll have, in the end you will also have inventory, and you will have to do exports minus imports. So all of this, if you do, you will get, using your expenditure method, you will get your GDP MP. Okay, so first we'll start with private final consumption expenditure. So here you have, see, personal consumption expenditure, which is 2,900. Then you have government final consumption expenditure. So here you can see, here you have government purchases of goods and services. So government's purchases of goods and services is nothing but your government final consumption expenditure only. They are also doing consumption expenditure on goods and services. So it is 1,100. Then you have gross to fixed capital formation. So gross to fixed capital formation, I mean gross domestic fixed capital formation, you have three parts in this. Okay, so you totally have three parts in this. What are the three parts? This can happen in business side, this can happen in residential purpose, and this can also happen for public. Okay, so gross fixed capital formation can happen for business, it can happen for residential purpose, and can also have for public purpose. So here in the question they have given you for business, they would have given you. We'll find out here. See, gross business fixed investment they have given you, it is nothing but 410. Then they have given you for residential, here they have given you gross residential construction investment, which is 450. And then they have given you public also, gross public investment. Okay, so all the investments you have to take here. Okay, it is nothing but your here, this investment, and this investment. Okay, so all the investments if you take here 500. Okay, so this will be your gross fixed, I mean gross domestic fixed capital formation. Then you have your inventory investment also, which you have to take. Inventory investment is 170. Okay, and then finally you have your exports minus imports. So here your exports they have given you, it is 200, and imports, have they given you any imports? You have to find out. Wait, check. Yes, here they have given you imports 300 minus 300. So if you do this, if you do 2,900 plus 1,100 plus 410 plus 450 plus 500 plus 170 plus 200 minus 300, you will get a GDP MP of 5430. 5430 you will get. So now here using the expenditure method we have found out that. So now the next thing that you have to find out that is asked in the question here is nothing but your GNP at FC. So how are you going to find out your GNP at FC? So first we'll find out GNP at MP itself. So GNP NP will be nothing but here domestic, you have to transform it into national. So for transforming domestic into national, I told you you have to add NFIA. So if you do that, what is your NFIA given in the question? Yes, net factor income from abroad, they have given you minus 30. So take it as minus 30 and it will be 5,400. So this is GNP NP. But in the question they have asked you gross national product at factor cost. So you have to now transform the market price to factor cost. If you have to change your market price to factor cost, what you have to do? You have to do minus net indirect taxes. So if you do minus net indirect taxes from the question, find out net indirect taxes. Yes, net indirect taxes is nothing but your it is nothing but your tax minus subsidy. Okay, net indirect taxes is nothing but your indirect tax minus subsidy. In the question they have not given you indirect tax, they have given you only subsidy. Subsidy here is 80, so you will do minus 80. So if you do 5,400 minus 80, I mean sir, it will not be minus, so you have to do minus of minus n80, right? So it will be minus of minus, it will become plus. So it will be plus 80 here. Okay. So it is minus n80. So if you do tax minus of tax minus subsidy, then it will be minus tax plus subsidy. Okay. So it is going to be plus 80. So 5,400 plus 80 is going to be 5,480. So one of the things that you have to find out, your GNPFC, that is 5,480, you have found out. The next thing that in the question they have told you to find out is NDP at MP. It is NDP MP. So what you have first found out here was GDP MP. We'll just take the same value. It is GDP MP. Here you have to do nothing but here from gross you have to convert it. Here you have to do nothing. One second, guys. Yes. So here from gross you have to convert it into net. You have to from gross you have to convert it into net. For converting gross into net, what will you do? You will do minus depreciation. So if you do that, what is GDPMP? GDPMP was 5430. So it is 5430 minus depreciation they have given in the question. So in the question for depreciation, they can use another name, which is consumption of fixed capital. They have given you 60. For depreciation, another name is consumption of fixed capital, which is 60. So if you do minus 60, you will get NDPMP, which is nothing but 5370 crores. Okay. So we have also found out whatever was asked in the question. GNPFC you find out, and NDPMP also you have found out. It is nothing but 5370 crores. Okay. So this was the question. Okay. So moving on to the 13th question. So in 13th question, they had asked you, right? We have to move to this question only. Okay. So in the 13th question, here they have asked you, what will be the total credit created by the commercial banking system for an initial deposit of 3,000 at a required reserve rate RRR of 0.05 and 0.08. Also compute credit multiplier. Okay. So first, what they have asked you here is what will be the total credit created. That means what is your credit creation they have asked you. So what is the formula for credit creation? The formula for credit creation is initial deposit into 1 by RRR, that is required reserve ratio. Okay. So here they have told you to find out total credit creation in case of 2 RRR. This is 1 RRR and this is second RRR. So in two cases they have told you to find out. So in the first case, what will be the credit creation? What is the initial deposit? It is 3,000. So 3,000 into 1 by 0.05. So in first case, your credit creation will be 60,000 rupees. In second case, what will be your credit creation? It will be 3,000 into 1 by 0.08. So yeah, in second case, your credit creation is going to be 37,500. So we have found out one part of the question. Second part, we have told you to find out credit multiplier. So what is credit multiplier? This is the credit multiplier. 1 by RRR is nothing but your credit multiplier. So here directly we'll find out what is the credit multiplier in case 1, that is 1 by 1 divided by 0.05. Here the credit multiplier is 20 times. Always add times when you find out credit multiplier. It is 20 times. Here what is the credit multiplier in the second case? It is 1 by 0.08. That is nothing but 12.5 times. So in the question they had asked you credit creation, credit multiplier, which we have found out. Okay. Next question number 14, they have asked you investment in an economy increases from 10,000 crores to 14,000 crores. As a result, national income also rises from 80,000 crores to 92,000 crores. Compute investment multiplier. So you denote investment multiplier as you denote it as K, right? So how and all you can find out your investment multiplier? First formula is change in income by change in investment. Another formula that you have for this is 1 divided by 1 minus MPC, or you can also find out by 1 divided by 1 divided by MPS. So here we'll use this formula to find out. So here what is the change in income? It is 92,000 minus 80,000, which is nothing but 12,000. Yes, I'm right, 12,000. What is the change in investment? It is 14,000 minus 10,000, which is nothing but 4,000. So what is the investment multiplier here? 3 times. Investment multiplier is 3 times here. Okay. So yes guys, so now we have completed 3 question papers, that is May 18, November 18 and May 19. Now we are moving on to November 19 question paper questions. Okay. So here the next question is, compute the amount of subsidies from the following data. The amount of subsidies you have to find out. They have given you GDP at MP, they have given you indirect taxes, and GDP FC they have given you. So we'll first give the equation. So here first we'll take GDP MP. So how will you find GDP MP? So it is nothing but GDP FC. So to go from FC to MP, what you have to do? You have to do plus net indirect taxes. Plus net indirect taxes means indirect taxes minus subsidies. So what is GDP MP here? GDP MP here is 779,567. What is GDP FC? GDP FC is 360,815. What is indirect taxes here? 454,367 minus subsidies. If you do here, if you solve this equation, you will get a subsidies of 35,615 crores, guys. So this will be your subsidies. Just you had to substitute the equation and find out the subsidies. Very easy question. This they had asked for 3 marks in the exam. Very easy. Okay. Next question, so see the question number 16 and question number 17. For now I'm going to skip and go to question number 18. Question number 16 and 17 we will see at the end. Okay, so question number 18, let's go. So in question number 18 they told you compute NNP at FC or national income. Okay, both are same only. NNP at FC, that is NNP FC or national income from the following data using income method they have told you to find out. So what is the formula for income method? For income method, what is the formula? The formula is compensation of employees plus operating surplus plus mixed income. If you do this in using income method, what are you going to get? What will you get, guys? Can someone tell me what are you going to get if you do this using income method? Can someone tell me? Nobody? You will not get GDP MP. Here is where you go wrong. Income method, if you do these 3 addition, you will only get NDP at FC. Correct? So you'll only get NDP at FC. You have to always remember this. You will get NDP at FC. Okay. In this, if you add NFIA, you will get your national income, which is nothing but NNP FC. Okay. So here also in operating surplus, you have to remember RIP. Okay, RIP, rest in peace. What is this? This is nothing but rent, interest and profit will be included in this. Okay. So compensation of employees. What is compensation of employees given in the question? 3,000. Next, you have to find out rent. Rent is 1,020. What is the interest? Interest is 980. No, sorry. Interest is 2,010. 2,010. What is the profit? Profit is 980. Then you have to write your mixed income. What is your mixed income? Mixed income of self-employed 1,050. So if you add all of this, you will get your NDPFC. With this, if you add your NFIA, what is your NFIA here? 370. If you add 370, you will get your NNPFC, that is nothing but 8430 crores. That is nothing but your national income also. So this was your 18th question. We have solved this easy question only. Okay. Yes. So let's move on to the question number 19. It's something similar to what we have already done. So here they have told you to compute the credit multiplier if the required reserve ratio is 10% and 12.5% for every 1,000 deposited in the banking system. So here, 1 lakh. 1 lakh here is nothing but your initial deposit. What will be the total credit money created by the bank system in each case? First, they have told us to find out the credit multiplier. So what is the formula of credit multiplier? I already told you it is nothing but 1 divided by RRR. So here, since they have given you 10%, you have to convert it in the form of decimal and only rate. So it will be 0.10. It is nothing going to, it is going to be 10. In this is in the first case. In the second case, what is going to be 1 divided by RRR? It is going to be 1 by 12.5%. It is 0.125. So if you do this, you will get an answer of 8. Okay, so credit multiplier in the first case is 10, in the second case is 8. Here you have to do nothing but write times 8, 10 times, 8 times. Next in the question, they have told you to find out the total credit money. That is nothing but your credit creation. What was the formula for credit creation? Initial deposit into 1 by RRR. Here 1 by RRR we have already found, so we will directly substitute. So initial deposit in the first case is 1 lakh into first case RRR is 1 by RRR is 10 times. But 10 lakh. Here in the second case you will get 1 lakh into 8, which is nothing but 8 lakh. So this is going to be your answer. I hope I'm doing it right. Yes, if I had made any mistake, just correct me up. Okay. So this is what is going to, this is what your sum is going to be. Okay, fine. I'll just check once more. Yes, we have done it right. Okay, fine. I just had a little confusion in the calculation here. Okay. So yes, guys, so all the 4 attempts that had already passed, all the 4 attempts question paper sums we have solved, okay? So now we are going to start with RTP. So now we are going to start with RTP. We are going to start from May 18 till November 20. We are going to solve all the questions from the RTPs. Okay, let's start. So here they have told you that you are given the following data on an economy in millions they have given you. Here they have told you all the details they have given here. We'll directly see what we need to find. First, you have to calculate the gross domestic product at market prices, then gross national income at market prices, domestic gross product at, gross domestic product at factor cost, and per capita gross national income at factor cost. So all these 4 things you have to find. So here in the question, from which method are you going to find all of these? Can someone see and tell me which method are you going to use? Income method or value added method or expenditure method? What method you have to use here? What is the method that you can use here? Or you can also directly, yes, very good. Yes, here you have to use your expenditure method. Okay, here you have to use your expenditure method. So first we'll start with GDP MP. Okay, you have to start with GDP MP. In your suggested answers, they are directly solved using C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Like this, they are given and directly solved it. Okay. But here we'll follow the right way itself. If you want, or you can also solve using the same answer only you are going to get. So if you take your if you solve using expenditure method, first you have to take your private expenditure. Okay. Okay. So what will be the private consumption expenditure? Here they have given you consumption expenditure inclusive of indirect taxes is 110 million. Okay, so here we'll get a doubt. Okay, what is this inclusive of indirect taxes? So here, whenever you do a consumption expenditure, if you go and buy some goods, always your indirect tax will be included in that price only. So here, inclusive of indirect taxes is correct only. You don't need to change anything in the value. Okay, so it is 110. Next, you will add your government spending. So here government spending, government expenditure is inclusive of transfer payments. Okay, always remember in government spending, you should never include the transfer payments. So what you will do from this 70 million, you will reduce the transfer payments here of 20 million, which is 50 million. So your government spending will be 50. With this, you will add your investments. Here your investments is 20 million. Plus you will do exports minus imports. So exports and imports value they have given you. Exports is 20, imports is 50. So if you do this, you will get your GDP MP value as 150 million. You'll get your GDP MP value as 150 million. Okay, so the first one we had solved. Now moving on to the next one, second one. So in second one, what they had asked us to find gross national product at market price. Using the GDP MP itself, we will find. So what is the difference between both here? Here it is national, here it is domestic. So what you have to do, you have to just do plus NFIA to convert domestic into national. Here NFIA, what they have given, here always remember what is NFIA? Net factor income to abroad. Here this NFI is net factor income to abroad, okay? But here in the question they have given you net factor income from abroad. Always see this. It is net property. Here this is net property income from abroad, but now for just seeing the word from, okay? So from abroad. Okay, so always if it is given to abroad, you will add. If it is given from abroad, you have to reduce. Okay. Okay, so here what you have to remember is, here we have net factor income from abroad, right? So in this net factor income from abroad also has actually three components. Net factor income from abroad also has three components. It is net compensation of employees. Then it also has net retained earnings. Then it finally has net property income from abroad. To abroad actually. Net property income to abroad. Okay, so these are the three things which should be included in NFIA. Here in the question they have not given us the compensation of employees or retained earnings, so we'll directly take the net property income from abroad. Here actually it should have been 2, so since here it is from, you will do minus 10 million. Okay, so what is the GDP-MP? GDP-MP is 150 million minus 10 million, which is nothing but 140 million. Okay, I'll just check with this. Yes, correct. So it will be 140 million. Okay. Okay, fine. So this was your GNP-NP. Okay. Third one, here they have told you to find out GDP-FC. GDP-FC. So again, we will take GDP-MP, and for converting MP to FC, what will you do? From converting MP to FC, you will do minus net indirect taxes. So what is GDP-MP? GDP-MP was 150 minus net indirect taxes you have to do. Here they have given you, see, indirect taxes. Here you don't have subsidy, so you will directly do minus 30, which is nothing but 120. Okay, so this is what you will do to find out your GDP-FC. Third one also you have found out. Here fourth one, calculate the per capita gross national income at factor cost. So what is per capita income? So whatever income you have, if you divide this, whatever income you have, if you divide it with population, you will get your per capita income. You will get your per capita income. So here what they have told you is that you have to find out per capita gross national income at factor cost. So you will do nothing. You will do GNP FC by population. If you do that, you will get a per capita income of gross national income at factor cost. 1 second, guys. Okay, so if you do GNP-FC by population, here you found out. Did you find out GNP-FC? Okay, you did not find out GNP-FC. So how will you find out GNP-FC? GNP-FC will be nothing but GNP-MP, which we have found out here. GNP-MP, you will take this and you will do minus net indirect taxes. If you do this, you will get your GNP-FC. So if you do this, and whatever value you get, just divide it using population. Okay, so here since we are running out of time, I'll not be solving the whole sums. I'll just give you an idea on how to approach those sums. I hope this is clear. If you do this and if you divide by population, you will get your fourth answer, which is per capita gross national income at factor cost. Okay, next we are moving to the 21st question. So in your 21st question, you have for an economy with the following specifications. So your consumption is, they have given you consumption, investment, government expenditure, transfer, payments, income tax. Okay. Here they have told you find out equilibrium level of income. What is equilibrium level of income? Aggregate demand plus aggregate supply. Aggregate, this I have already told you. Aggregate demand equal to aggregate supply. This is equilibrium level of income. So here first you have what you will do. You will do nothing but y equal to c plus I plus g plus x minus m. Okay, here again in the C, in the consumption function, they have given you YD. That is, they have given you personal disposable income. Always first you have converted into Y and then only substitute in this formula. So how will you convert it into Y? You will do YD equal to income minus tax plus transfer payment. So if you do this, you will get your Y. So let's do that first. So YD equal to Y minus tax. So what is the tax here? It is 0.2y. plus transfer payments. You have to do transfer payments is 110. If you do this, you will get your YD as you'll get 0.8y plus 110. Okay, so this is nothing but your YD. So what you can do now in the consumption function, you can transfer this 50, substitute this 0.75 instead of YD here. You can write this amount, which will be 0.8y plus 110. So if you substitute this, your new consumption function will be 135.50 plus 0.65. Okay, so this consumption function you will have to come and substitute here. Then what you have to do, you have to do plus investment. Investment is 100 plus government expenditure 200 plus exports minus imports. Here exports minus imports they have not given you, so just ignore that. Okay, and if you do so, you will get y equal to 1081.25 crores. Okay, so this is how you will find out equilibrium level of income. Here next they have told you to find the value of expenditure multiplier. Value of expenditure multiplier. Okay, so what is expenditure multiplier here? So here the value. So what is your investment multiplier formula, guys? What is your investment multiplier formula? It is nothing but ky equal to del y by del I, which is nothing but 1 by 1 minus PC, I mean MPC, or 1 by MPS, right? So here what you have is this in your consumption function. If you see, you have a plus by, right? In the b, what will be this b? This b will nothing be nothing but your MPC only. So this MPC is only like your multiplier. This MPC or this B is only your multiplier. Okay, so fine. So how will you find out expenditure multiplier? Expenditure multiplier, how will you find out is, it is same as how you find out your investment multiplier. Same thing only. Expenditure multiplier and investment multiplier, the same way only you have to find out. So here what we can do is, since we have our MPC, you can find out directly. So here we found out our MPC, right? What was our MPC here in the consumption function? 0.6. So here see, here you can see this was A, this was B, you had Y. So C equal to A plus BY. In this B we have taken now. That is nothing but this B is MPC. So 0.6 is your MPC. So it will be 1 by 1 minus 0.6. So it will be 1 divided by 0.4, which is going to be 2.5. So your expenditure multiplier here is 2.5. Your expenditure multiplier here is nothing but 2.5. Okay. 1 second, guys. Okay, so next what they have told you to find out is if they have told you if autonomous taxes worth 25 crores are added, find out the equilibrium level of income. So here what is autonomous taxes worth 25 crores? Here you would have heard something known as autonomous consumption, right? So you would have learned about autonomous consumption. Here this A is nothing but your autonomous consumption only. So this means what is autonomous consumption? Autonomous consumption is nothing but whether you have income or not, that amount you will definitely consume. That amount of consumption expenditure you will definitely do. That is autonomous consumption. Then what is autonomous tax? Autonomous tax means whether you have income or not, whatever your income may be, irrespective. Okay, I mean just leave alone whatever your level of income is, at what level of income you are earning. Okay, you will always have your tax is going to be 25 crores definitely. So here they have given you income tax equal to 0.2y. That means what they tell you here in 0.2y is that how much ever your income is, in that 0.2% will be your tax. But now here what they tell you, your income tax is going to be autonomous 25 crores plus 0.25. So here now what is going to happen? So your income tax equal to 25 plus 0.25. The equation is going to change. And now after the change of equation, you have to find out the equilibrium level of income. So again, you have to start from the starting only. You have to start YD equal to Y minus tax plus transfer payments. Here in this minus tax, when you do, this equation you will have to substitute and do the working. So like the same way how we did, then you will find out your consumption function. Then using that you will have to find out your y. So all of the same steps only the tax, due to the change in tax, your whole sum answer will again change. So that I think you can do by yourself. I don't need to do it again now. Okay. Next they have told you if the economy is opened up with exports equal to x equal to 25 and m is 5 plus 0.25 y, calculate the new level of income and balance of trade, assuming that there are no autonomous taxes. So here what they tell you, since they have told you no autonomous taxes, just ignore the second part. So in first part, they tell you, no, here remember, we saw that we didn't have exports minus imports here. I just gave a x. Here, instead of that, they have told you, we have given you exports minus import also. So here you have to just do plus exports, that is 25, minus what is the imports? Imports is 5 plus 0.25 y. So if you do this and solve the y, whatever you get as your answer is going to be the new level of income. Okay, so whatever answer you are going to get, that will be your new level of income. Okay, and then finally they asked you what is the balance of trade. So balance of trade is nothing but your exports minus imports is only your balance of trade. So if suppose, okay, so if suppose once you solve, okay, I'll just solve this and show to you. Okay, third one we'll just solve quickly. So in third case, what will be your y? Your y, whatever you previously found out. So it was 1081.25 crores plus x minus m. So if you do so, what is the y that you will get now? Once again. So the y that you are going to get now is 696.15 crores. Okay, that is 695.15 crores. You will get your y in the third case. So in such case, what you have to do here, you have to substitute the x and m. X here was 25, m here was 5 plus 2.05 y. So if you substitute this, you will get 696.15 crores. Now, they have told you to find balance of trade. So balance of trade is equal to nothing but x minus m. What was your x? X was 25. What was your m? M was nothing but 5 plus 0.25 y. Here they have told you y. Instead of this y, you have to substitute this. So it will be 0.25 into, once again, so it will be 0.25 into 696.15. So if you do, you will get your balance of trade, which is nothing but minus 154, sorry. So it is nothing, it is going to be 154.04 crores. Okay, so this is your balance of trade. That means your imports are greater than your exports. Okay, fine. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question, guys. So the next question is question number 22. Also with that, we have completed our May 18 RTP. We are moving to our RTP of November 18. Okay, just 5 more RTPs to go and we are done. Okay, calculate gross national disposable income. Here they have given you a different thing. What they have given you? Gross national disposable income. Okay, fine. So what is the gross national disposable income? Here I'll give you the formula. Gross national disposable income is nothing but your GNP plus what will be it? It will be your net current transfer from rest of the world. So what is your gross national disposable income? Gross national disposable income is going to be nothing but your GNP plus net current transfer from rest of the world. So this is going to be a gross national domestic income. Okay, fine. So now we'll start by solving the question. So in the question they have given you net domestic product at fixed factor cost 6,000. So net, so they have given you NDP FC, they have given you 6,000. Okay, fine. Okay, here what we have to find out here is that GNP first we'll have to find out. So how do you find out GNP? First from this NDP FC, we'll first find out GDP FC. We'll first find out GDP FC. First we'll transfer this net to gross. So for transferring net to gross, what you have to do? You have to add depreciation. So depreciation in the question, they have given you consumption of fixed capital 400. So if you do plus 400, you will get 6,400. So our ultimate aim is to find GNP. So now we are going to do GDP FC to GNP FC. So one by one element I'm transferring. Okay. Now here you have to transfer domestic to national. To transfer domestic to national, you have to do plus NFIA. So in the question, what is NFIA given? Yes, net factor income to abroad only they are given. So it is plus 300. If you do this, you will get 6,700. Okay. Now finally, lastly, what you will do is you will go and find out your GNP MP, the final element you can do. So the final element, what you have to do, you have to transfer your factor cost to market price. How will you transfer your factor cost to market price? You will do plus net indirect taxes. So net indirect taxes is nothing but indirect taxes minus subsidies. So here indirect taxes is 700. Here 1 second guys. Sorry. I just made a mistake. So here it is net factor income to abroad, right? So net factor income to abroad means here we will only write net factor income from abroad. So if it is to abroad, you have to do minus 300. Sorry, I made a mistake. So it is going to be 6,100. So here then you have to do indirect tax, that is 700 minus subsidy 600. If you do so, it will be 6,100 plus 100 will be 6,200. So GNP MP is going to be 6,200. So now if you substitute this, GNP MP is going to be 6,200 plus net current transfer from rest of the world. You have to take net current transfer from rest of the world. If you take this plus 500, then your gross national disposable income is going to be nothing but 6,700. This is going to be our answer here. Current transfer from government, you no need to take. Base information, you don't need to take. Okay. So this is how you find out your gross national disposable income, that is GNP MP plus net current transfer from rest of the world. I hope question number 22 is clear to you. To abroad and from abroad, can you please explain once again? Okay. So what you do usually when you have to transfer your domestic to national, what you do net factor income from abroad. Okay, you do net factor income from abroad. That means from abroad, whatever our Indians had earned and are going to give back to our economy, are going to add it back with the domestic income, and you will make it your national income. Okay. So here what happens is that few people in India, few people from India will also be foreigners, right? They will also be foreigners. So what these people will do is, these foreigners have to send back their money, like how Indians who are working in Indians who are working in a foreign state will send back their money to India, and we are adding that money which is sent by the Indians who are working in a foreign state to India in NFIA. It means net factor income from abroad. From abroad, our Indians are sending in money that you will have to add to the domestic income, because that is also Indian income only, right? So you'll add back to domestic income, and you will find out national income. Whereas a few foreigners will be working in India who will send their money earned to their foreign state. So this income is not belonging to Indian income or our national income or the national income or of our country. So this is net factor income to abroad. Here what we are getting is net factor income from abroad we are getting. Here to abroad means you are giving your income to the abroad people. Okay. So what is going to happen? Net factor income from abroad you will add, and minus you will do net factor income to abroad. To abroad, whatever you are sending, you have to minus, and whatever you are getting from abroad, you have to add. Subhashri, is the doubt clear? Is the doubt clear? If yes, just send in a yes. If no, I'll explain it once again. Okay. Question number 17. Question number 17. They have told you an economy is characterized by the following equations. So here they have given you consumption, investment, government expenditure, tax, exports, import. What is the equilibrium income? You all know what is the equilibrium income. It is nothing but C. You will do Y equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. X minus M. Here the same way they have given you YD, you will again transfer it to Y and do. Okay, this one you have already done in so many sums. So I think I'll not repeat it again. Okay. Next, they have asked you to find out trade balance. That is balance of trade. In the past few questions only, I told you what is balance of trade. It is nothing but X minus M. So if you do this, you will get your trade balance. Finally, this is the one different thing in this question. What is the value of foreign trade multiplier? So we have already seen investment multiplier. Then we saw expenditure multiplier. For expenditure multiplier and investment multiplier, we use the same formula. Here they have asked you foreign trade multiplier. So foreign trade multiplier, this formula you can note. Okay. So here what is the formula for investment multiplier? It is del y, that is mean change in income by change in investment by 1 minus MPC equal to 1 by MPS. So this is your investment multiplier formula. Okay. What is foreign trade multiplier means? So what happens in foreign, what you do exports and imports, right? So what will be the difference here is that, so what is your MPC? MPC is your marginal propensity to consume. This can also be denoted as B. We know, right? This can also be denoted as B. It will be nothing but 1 minus B. This is same only. 1 by 1 minus MPC and by 1 by 1 minus B is same. Here, foreign trade multiplier, here you will add an element that is known as your propensity to import. Here, how you have a marginal propensity to consume, the same way you have something known as marginal propensity to import also. So this element you have to add here. So how will you add this? You will do plus M. Actually, in our book, it is given using V. It is plus V. They have shown this marginal propensity to import using V. But for our easiness, we'll take it as M only. Okay. Because imports, we have only seen the word letter M for it. So now it will be easy for you to learn. So it will be plus M. So this is the formula. This is the formula for foreign, what do you say, foreign trade multiplier. So it will be 1 by 1 minus marginal propensity to consume B. What is given in the question? Marginal propensity to consume, it will come as 0.9, guys. Once again, yes, here you have, right, marginal propensity to consume in your consumption function. Okay, this is your B. You all know this is your B in your consumption function. The consumption function will be C plus A plus BY. So this B is 0.9. So here it will be 1 minus 0.9 plus M. You have to find what is M. M is marginal propensity to import. So in your import formula, you have 100 plus 0.15y. So here the 0.15y is nothing but your propensity to import or marginal propensity to import. So it is 0.15. So I hope you understood where I picked the values from. So if you do this, you will get an answer of 4. So your foreign multiplier is nothing but 4 times. Okay. So please remember this, the value of foreign trade multiplier is a different aspect in this. Okay, fine. So we have completed our question number 23 also. Now we have completed our 2 RTPs. We are moving to our third RTP paper, that is May 19. Okay, fine. So here they have told you, using the information given in the following table, calculate value added by firm A and B, gross domestic product at market price and net domestic product at factor cost. First, we'll find out what is the value added by firm A and B. So usually what is the value added formula? Value added formula is value of output minus intermediate consumption, and value of output can also be shown as sales plus change in stock. So this change in stock can also again be shown as closing minus opening stock. So this is how you find out your value added. Okay. By firm A and firm B. This is how you usually show it. So the same way here also you have to find out the value added by firm A and value added by firm B. Okay. So how are you now going to find out this is that? But in this question, once again, but in this question you have a little bit of a difference. Here what they have given you is directly they have not given you what is the value of output. Directly the value of output they have not given you here. Here you have to find it out using a different method. So what is a different method? I will teach you. The same formula only but in a different sense you have to apply. Okay, once again. So first we will do value of output. So value of output you will do minus intermediate consumption. Here you will have firm A and here you are going to have firm B. Okay. So firm A, first now we will start by seeing the question. Okay. So here they have told you sales by firm B to general government. So means whatever firm B has sold to the general government is their output only. Firm B is output only, right? So that firm B's output here we can have 300. Value of output of firm B is 300. Okay. Next, sales by firm A. Sales by firm A is nothing but their value of output only. Here they are not given like separately like for how firm B they are given. Here totally this is like a bonus. Sales by firm A, that is total value of output itself they have given you, that is 1500. So you can directly write here 1500. Okay. Next they have given you sales by firm B to households. Again this is the output of firm B only. You have to do plus 1350 here. Then you have change in stock of firm A. Change in stock of firm A. Where will you use this change in stock of firm A? To find out value of output. So what you would have once again, sorry guys, here this 1500 is not value of output. This 1500 is the sales figure here. I just jumbled it. So it is nothing but your sales figure here, this sales figure. Okay, sales figure, total sales they have given you, total sales 1500 they have given you. Okay, so now change in stock you have to take into consideration. So what is your change in stock? So change in stock of firm A is 200. So you will do plus 200. Okay, they have given you closing stock of firm B and opening stock of firm B. So that is nothing but change in stock only. You have to do closing minus opening. So plus closing you will do, what is closing? 140 minus opening you have to do, what is opening? 130. Okay, you have to do that. Next, this all will come under value of output only. So I'm doing like a column here. Okay, this is value of output and intermediate consumption. Okay, next you have purchases by firm A. Purchases by firm A means firm A has purchased from somewhere. That means it is their intermediate consumption. So it will come in intermediate consumption, 270 rupees. Okay. Next, they have indirect taxes paid by both the firms. That is not needed here. Consumption of fixed capital also will not take here. Okay, last is sales by firm A to firm B. So sales by firm A to firm B means for firm A, if it has sold, that means for firm A, what will it be? It will be output. It will be 300. And B has taken it. That means they have purchased it. That means purchases of B will be their intermediate consumption. That is 300 here. But what you have to note down here is that here we have already taken all the sales by firm A as 1500. Here they have already told you the total sales by firm A is 1500. So again, you need not add this 300. Again, you need not add this 300. Okay. Again, you need not add this 300. Okay, but in B you have to write 300 as intermediate consumption. Now how will you find out your value added by both firms? What will be your value added here? It will be nothing but value of output minus intermediate consumption. So you have to do 1500 plus 200 minus 270. If you do this, you will get 1430. Here you have to do 300 plus 1350 plus 140 minus 130 plus 300. I mean minus 300. If you do so, you will get a value of 1360. So this is the value added by firm A. This is the value added by firm B. Simple only, okay? We have done this. So value added is actually nothing but if you do value added method, what is the answer that you will get? You will get GDP at MP. This is the answer that you will get. Okay. Next they have asked you Yes, correct. 1 second, guys. Okay. So that is the GDP MP. Okay, we have also found out what is the value added by firm A, what is the value added by firm B. 1 second, guys, just give me a second. Okay, yes, and the GDP MP also we have found out. Okay, guys, can you just check? Value added gives the answer of GDP MP only, right? I have a confusion here. Can you just like confirm with me? Value added method gives you GDP MP directly, right? Or it gives you GDP FC. It gives you GDP MP only, right? I don't know why suddenly I have that confusion now. Can someone just confirm? Yes. Okay, we're going on the right path. Okay, fine. Gross domestic product at market price, we have found out. Okay, separately also you have found out. So separately in the first question, okay, what is the difference between first and second question? That is where I actually got confused. Okay, so what is the difference here is that here value added by firm A and firm B. This was your first question. Now they have told you to find out GDP MP. So GDP MP will be value added of firm A plus firm B. This will be your GDP MP. So if you add that both, you'll get your second answer. So you have to add here 1430 plus 1360. So if you add these both, you'll get your GDP MP. That is your Second question answer. Okay. And your final question answer, that is NDP-FC. So how will you find out your NDP-FC from GDP-MP? Your NDP-FC is going to be GDP-MP. First, you have to transfer gross to net. That means minus depreciation. Next, you have to transfer domestic, same only. Next, you have to transfer your market price to factor cost. For that, you have to do minus net indirect taxes. So if you do this, you will be able to find your NDP-FC. So I don't need to solve this. This is easy only. You will be able to solve. Okay, guys, just give me a second. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. So the next question is, an increase of investment by 600 crores resulted in an increase in national income by 2,400 crore. Find out MPC and MPS. Okay, this is easy. What is your using your multiplier formula? You can find out. What is the multiplier formula? It is change in income by change in investment. What is the change in income? 2,400 crore. What is your change in investment? It is 600 crore. So what is the K that you are going to get? You will get 4 times. Here for K there is another formula, 1 divided by 1 minus MPC, and or you can also write as 1 divided by 1 by MPS. So if you do K equal to 1 divided by 1 divided by MPS, that means you will get 4 equal to 1 divided by MPS. So now if you solve this, you will get an MPS of 0.25, and MPC you can find out using MPC plus MPS equal to 1. So MPC will be nothing but 0.75. So this is also an easy question only. Okay, next. Here they have asked you, compute the reserve money from the following data. What is your reserve money, guys? What is your reserve money? Your reserve money is nothing but your M1. You have to find out your M1. What is M1 formula? M1 is CC plus DD plus OD. What is your CC? C is currency in calculation. DD is deposits with RBI. OD is other deposits with RBI. So if all of these three you add, you will get your M1. This question is also easy. Okay. So now we have completed 3 RTPs, guys. Now we are starting with our 4th RTP, that is November 19. Okay. Now here November 19 RTP, you have to find out net domestic product at factor cost. You have to find out net domestic product at factor cost. Okay. Here you have to find NDP-FC, but what is the method that you are going to use here? Value added or income method, or what method? Here you have to find out using income method. It's not expenditure method. Here it is income method. Please see what are the components that is given in the question. It is income method. Okay. So income method, what is the formula? It is compensation of employees plus operating surplus. In operating surplus, you have rest in peace, rent, interest, and profit. Plus you have mixed income. If you do this, you will get NDP-FC. Okay, this is what they have asked you. Directly, if you do the net income method, you will get NDP-FC only. Okay, so what is the compensation to employees? In compensation to employees also you have 2 things. You have salary and also you have wages. So now first we'll start with compensation to employees. So what is the wage? 7142. Okay, they also have salary. Salary is 8912. This is compensation to employee. Plus you have to find operating surplus. Operating surplus is first rent 541 plus interest 1013 plus you have to take your profit 740 plus you have to take your mixed income. Mixed income is 450. So if you add all of these, you will directly get your NDP-FC, which is nothing but 1 second, I'll just find out the total. Or can someone find out the total and tell me? Yes, the total is 187.72 crores. So this is also an easy sum only. Okay. In this, I just wanted to tell you that in compensation of employees, you have salary and wages, and if you do the income method, directly you will get NDP-FC. Okay. Question number 28. Okay, question number 28 also, and the last we will do. Okay. Question number 29. Question number 29 is find out MPC when in an economy total income increases by 7,500 crores due to the increase in investment by 2,500 crores. If we read this itself, we come to understand here you have to solve using multiplier, investment multiplier formula. What is the investment multiplier formula? Change in income by change in investment. Change in income is 7,500 crores. Change in investment is 2,500 crores. So if you do this, you will get 3 times. So to find out MPC, you will do K equal to 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. Here instead of K, you have to substitute 3. So if you do this, you will get your answer for what MPC is. Okay, that you can solve by yourself. Next, I have told you, assume that the consumption function in an economy is specified by C equal to 200 plus 0.95. Okay. So with the help of an example, show that this economy, as income increases, MPC remains constant. You have to show that even though the increase income increases, your MPC, that is the 0.9, is going to remain constant. You have to show that to them. Okay. So now what we are going to do that to show that to them is, we are first going to take income. We're going to take their consumption. Okay. So suppose we'll take, for example, okay, we are taking suppose 3 incomes. You are taking an income of suppose 1,000, 2,000 and 3,000. Okay. So now here what will be the consumption then? Consumption, you have to use the formula 200 plus 0.95. So if you apply this formula, for the income of 1,000, your consumption will be 1,100. For income of 2,000, your consumption will be 2,000. For income of 3,000, your consumption is going to be 2,900. Okay. So this is your consumption. Okay. So now here what we are going to do is, we have to find out that MPC always remain constant. You have to find out that. Okay. So what is the formula of MPC? MPC is del C by del Y. Okay. So first we'll find out del C. That means change in consumption by change in income. Okay. Change in consumption. First you have to find out change in consumption. Okay. First we'll find out change in income at least. Income is easy, right? Change in income. First 1,000, 2,000, 1,000 rupees change. Again change is 2,000 to 3,000, again 1,000 rupees change. Change in consumption is here from 1,100 to 2,900 change. Again from 2,000 to 2,900, 900 change. So if you do MPC here, what is your MPC? MPC is 0.9 and 0.9. So here taking this example, where did it go? One second, guys. Yes, here. So taking an example of income and consumption, we have shown them that the consumption function, that is MPC, is always going to remain constant only. So if in the question they ask you a question like this, do nothing. Take this formula, take this equation, and then using that equation, give 2 to 3 examples to them and solve the equation using those 2 to 3 examples. And you have to show that in all the equations, MPC is same only. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. We are in the 30th question, guys. Very good. What is the time? Just a second. I'll also see the time. Okay, fine. Not bad. Okay. So calculate narrow money from the information. What is narrow money, guys? Can someone tell me what is the narrow money here? Narrow money is nothing but your M1 again. Okay. Narrow money is M1 only. Okay. So what is M1? M1 again same. M1 equal to CC plus DD plus OD. What is CC? Currency with the public, plus DD is demand deposit with the bank, and then you have OD, that is other deposits of RBI. This is waste. Okay. If you add these 3, you will get your M1. That will be nothing but 22,917.5 million. Always remember, you have to write the whatever the denotation is there, that is million or crores or whatever. 30th question, easy only. Okay. 31st question. So what is high powered money here? So they have asked you what is high powered money. That you don't need to say, that you can say that in your theory part. Here they have told you calculate it from the following data. That means high powered money, you have to calculate it from the following data. So how do you find out your high powered money? High powered money is nothing but money which is issued by RBI. Okay, this is a simple formula. Money issued by RBI. Whatever money is issued by RBI, from that if you reduce the liabilities of RBI, you will get a high powered money. And also you have to add The money that you have given, that is the money that is given by the, money that is given by the commercial bank. So this is your like your formula for high powered money. So net RBI, I mean net RBI credit to the government. That means RBI has given money to the government. Okay, they have net RBI credit to the government means RBI has given money to the government. So this you will add. Okay, issued by RBI. Again, RBI credit to the commercial sector. This is also money issued by RBI. They have given to them 184. Okay, this also you will add. Again, RBI's net non-monetary liabilities. So monetary liabilities, I told you will reduce. So this you have to minus. Liabilities you have to minus. Next you have RBI's claim on banks. RBI's claim on banks is nothing but the money which the RBI has to RBI has to take from the banks, okay, which it has to yet receive from the banks. Okay, so this also you have to add. This is like a money that you have given out. Okay, next RBI's net foreign assets also you have to add. And then finally government's currency liabilities to the public. So government currency liability to the public is nothing but the money that has been given to the public. Okay, so this is nothing but that you have to add. So if you do this, you will finally get your high powered money. Okay, you will get your high powered money and then you will get your answer. That will be nothing but 983.68.7 million. Okay, next question. So next question. So this question, just see, we already at the first when I was doing the productivity question, this one is already we have done this question. Okay guys, now we have completed 4 RTP papers. Now we are moving on to our 5th RTP paper. Okay, so now let's start. So here they have told you that calculate the operating surplus. Calculate the operating surplus with the help of the following data. So here they have given you sales, compensation to employees, intermediate consumption, rent, interest, net indirect taxes, consumption of fixed capital, mixed income. Here what will you usually do is, here you will make a mistake in the exam. You will do operating surplus equal to rent, interest, profit. And what you will do, rent you will take from the question 400, interest given in the question 300. Okay, profit not given in the question 0, 700. You will solve like this and come, which is wrong. Okay, so how this question has to be actually solved is, always see for how much marks the question is given. For this, for if it's given for 4 to 5 marks, for this thing they will not give you 4 to 5 marks. Okay, so here how it actually has to be found out is that here the profit amount they have not given us directly. We have to find it out. So what you have to do here is GDP MP. First we'll start with that, because using the what do you say, 1 second guys. Yes, so first we have to start with by finding out GDP MP. What is your GDP MP? It is nothing but your value of output. Spelling is wrong, just adjust minus intermediate consumption. So what is your value of output here? Value of output, 1 second guys. Intermediate consumption they have given you 600 minus 600. Where is the value? Yes, sales. Okay, so value of output they have directly not given you. That they have given you sales plus change in stock. So here sales is 4,000 plus change in stock. Have they given us? No, 0 minus 600. So your GDP MP will be 3,400 crores. Okay, so now next you have to find out NDP-FC, because using the income method, what you will find out at the end is NDP-FC only, right? So NDP-FC, how will you find out? GDP MP minus depreciation minus net indirect tax. If you do, you will find out your NDP-FC. So this is 3,400 minus depreciation. They have given it as consumption of fixed capital 200. So minus 200 minus net indirect taxes. Here they have given you 500. So if you do this, you will get NDP-FC. NDP-FC is 2,700 crore. Okay, so how do you find out NDP-FC? NDP-FC using your income method, it is compensation to employees plus operating surplus plus mixed income. So first we'll find out what is compensation to employees. It is 800. Compensation to employees 800. Mixed income is 400. This mixed income is fund. This is the value that you have to find out. So it is 1,200. Okay, so NDP-FC equal to 1200 plus operating surplus. NDPFC is nothing but 2700 crore equal to 1200 crore plus operating surplus. So operating surplus is going to be nothing but 2700 crore minus 1200 crore, 1500 crores. Okay, this is how you have to find out your operating surplus here. Okay, so I hope you would have understood this. Okay, next question. Suppose you are given the information that consumption function, tax, investment spending, government spending, export, imports, where Y and YD are income and personal disposable income respectively. Find the equilibrium level of income and net exports. How will you find out equilibrium level of income? Aggregate supply equal to aggregate demand, Y equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Here the same way what they have done, they have given you YD. You have to solve using YD equal to Y minus tax plus transfer payments. Here tax alone they have given you, transfer payments they have not given you. So like this you have to solve. If you solve, what will happen? It will be Y minus 50. So YD is going to come as Y minus 50. So when you write your consumption function, you can write it as 10 plus 0.8. Instead of YD, you can write Y minus 50 plus investment is 135 here, plus government spending is 60 plus exports minus imports. Exports is 35, imports is 0.055. So if you solve this, you will get your Y. Your Y will be nothing but 800. So 800 is your equilibrium level of income. Then you have to find out your next net exports. Net exports is nothing but X minus M. So what is X? X is 35 minus M. What is M? M is, sorry, M is not 3. M is 0.05 Y. Instead of Y, you have to put 800, substitute that and find out your X minus M, which is going to be nothing but minus 5. Minus 5 means imports is greater than exports. That was your 33rd question. A few more questions to go, guys, and then we are done with this. Okay. 34th question also I'm going to skip. We are going to move on to our last, no, you have a few more questions. Yes. So RTP November 20 we'll see. Okay. Then you have RTP May 20. Sorry, this is the last RTP, guys. RTP November 20. That is this attempt's RTP. We are done with almost 5 RTPs of 5 attempts and 4 attempts question paper. Okay. So this is your 6th attempts RTP. Okay. From the following data, calculate NNPFC, NNPMP, GNPMP, and GDPMP. Okay. So this is going to be like a quite, a quite lengthy question we can say. Okay. Fastly we'll do this. We all know. Here they have solved, here they have given us income method. You can see the question and you will be able to find out. Here they have given you income method. Okay, fine. So let's start. So compensation of employees is nothing but 1000 plus operating surplus 2000 plus mixed income 1100. So if you do what you will get NDPFC. So NDPFC is nothing but 4100. Okay. Next you have to, first what you have to find out, you will find out GDPMP. Okay, we'll find out GDPMP. So for finding out GDPMP, we'll write it like this. Okay. So this is your NDPFC. So finding out GDPMP, what you have to do is you have to do NDPFC equal to, NDPFC plus depreciation plus NIT. So if you do this, you'll get GDPMP, which is nothing but 4100 plus depreciation. This consumption of fixed capital 400 plus net indirect taxes. Net indirect taxes, they have given you 450 here. So plus 450. So if you do this, you will get GDPMP. GDPMP is 4950 crores. Okay. Next, we'll go on to find out GNPMP. So GNPMP, how can you find out? It will be nothing but your GDPMP minus depreciation. If you do, you will get your this thing. GNPMP, which is 4950 minus depreciation is minus 400, which is nothing but 4500 crores. So your GNPMP is 4500 crores. Okay. Sorry guys. Sorry. I made a mistake here. You actually have to do GNPMP equal to GDPMP. Here what is the changes? Domestic to national. I made a mistake. So you will do plus NFIA. So if you do plus NFIA, here what happens is here the to and from thing will come. Here, not to and from thing. Here, actually, from abroad itself, it is given as minus 50 only. So directly, even though the simplest addition, you will do minus 50. So if you do this, you will get a GNP of 4,900 crores. Okay. After this, what you have to do is, after finding out this, the third thing that you have to find out is NNP. So NNP, how will you find out? So NNP will be equal to GNP minus depreciation. So if you do, what was your GNP? It was 4,900 crore. Minus depreciation, what was the depreciation? 400. If you do this, you will get 4,000 crore. I mean, sorry, not 4,000 crore, 4,500 crores. So NNP is 4,500 crores. So NNP, if you have to transfer it to NNPFC, what you have to do? You have to do minus net indirect taxes. If you do minus net indirect taxes, that is minus 450, you will get a value of 4,050 crores. So this is how you find out this. This is also very simple question only. Okay. Next question. In 36th question, they have told you have to find out equilibrium income and trade balance up. Same thing, okay. Same thing only, guys, again and again. Okay, equilibrium income, you know how you will find it. Here they have given you personal disposable income again. Again, you have to transfer this into Y. That is in income format and substitute it and find. So income will be nothing but Y equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Do this and find it out. Trade balance again X minus M. So in M they have given you as a function of Y. So whatever answer you get here as Y, you will substitute it in the function of that is in the imports, and you will find out the answer. So 36th question also same repetitive question only, and not solve it. Okay. We'll move on to the 37th question. So here in 37th question, they have asked you find out M1. They have told you to find out M1. What is M1? M1 equal to currency with the public plus demand deposits plus other deposits. Here one thing you have to remember is that, see, currency with the public, cash in the hands of public, you will take 300. Plus demand deposits, they have given you 400. Okay. Plus other deposits, what you have to remember here is that other checkable deposits you have to take, and also traveler's check you have to take. You have to take 150 plus 50 here. That is the difference. Okay, 150 plus 50. Other deposits you have to take, other checkable deposits and traveler's checks also. These are all the other deposits. Okay. So these deposits you have to take. If you take this, you will get your M1. Okay. This was your 37th question. Next, moving on to our 38th question. 38th question, okay. So this is the same question. Who has the absolute advantage and who has the comparative? Absolute advantage we have already seen. We'll find out the productivity and then we'll find out our absolute advantage. But here a new thing is they have asked you a comparative advantage. That means in the case of opportunity cost, who has the more advantage? I'll solve this question. Okay, this is our final question. We have no more question, guys. Last question of the day. Okay. So they have told you countries Roseland and Daisyland have a total 4,000 hours each of labor available each day. Each day they have 4,000 hours of labor to produce shirts and trousers. Both countries use equal number of hours. That means if there is total 4,000 hours available, Roseland will use 2,000 hours, Daisyland will use 2,000 hours. Okay. Roseland produces 800 shirts and 500 trousers per day, and Daisyland produces 500 shirts and 200 trousers, 250 trousers per day. You have to find out an absolute advantage. So for finding out absolute advantage, you first have to find out productivity. So now what we are going to do is we are going to prepare a column like thing. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll write Roseland, Daisyland, you will write here shirt, and you will write here trousers. Okay. So Roseland, how many shirts it produces? It produces 800 shirts, and Daisyland produces 500 shirts. Roseland produces 500 trousers and Daisyland produces 250 trousers. Okay. So here now what we are going to do is, here itself we'll find out. Okay. So here itself let's find out the productivity, guys. Okay. So productivity. So here what they have told you in the question is Roseland gets 2,000 hours of labor hours per day, and also Daisy also gets 2,000 labor hours per day. Okay, so if they get 2,000 labor hours per day to produce 800 shirts, what is their productivity it is 2.5. Again the same way 2000 labor hours for 500 shirts, if they will get, their productivity will be 4. Here if it is 2000 by 500, their productivity is going to be 4. Here if it is 2000 by 250, the productivity is going to be 8. So by seeing this, what will you say? Who has an absolute advantage in making shirts? First, let's see. Here, Daisy. Daisy has an absolute advantage in making shirts because it has more productivity. For trousers, who has the absolute advantage? Roseland has the absolute advantage because its productivity is... Sorry. 1 second, guys. Sorry. Here I made a mistake. Give me a second, I'll correct it. Okay. So here this question is a little bit different. Okay. So here what they tell you is this 2.5 or this 4 or this 4 or this 8. What they are trying to tell you here is, so what they try to tell you is each shirt by Rose is being made in 2.5 hours. Each trouser of Rose is being made in 4 hours. Here each shirt of Daisy is made in 4 hours. And here each trouser of Daisy is made in 8 hours. So here what has happened is that, so whoever has the lesser number of hours, whoever takes lesser number of hours in producing a shirt or producing a trouser, they will only get the absolute advantage, right? So here for producing shirt, Rose produces one shirt in 2.5 hours where Daisy takes 4 labor hours. So here Rose has an absolute advantage in case of shirt. In case of trousers, what happens is Rose produces one trouser in 4 labor hours, whereas Daisy produces one trouser in 8 labor hours. So here also Rose only has an absolute advantage. Okay. So this here, in this case, Rose only has absolute advantage because it is able to produce per unit good in less number of hours. That means in more number of hours, more number of units it will be able to produce. That was about absolute advantage. Now let's move on to comparative advantage. So in comparative advantage, what they tell you is, in comparative advantage, you have to compare the opportunity cost. For whichever the opportunity cost is less, they will have a comparative advantage. So how are you going to find out is, again you have to do Rose, Daisy. So for Rose you have to write your shirt and here you will write trousers. Okay. So what? So you have to do nothing, but you have to do. If suppose if you are finding out opportunity for cost for a shirt, what you will do is, so that means it will be 2.5 by 4. That means if suppose they are producing shirt, they will lose out on trousers. If they are producing trousers, they lose out on shirt. Okay. So that opportunity cost Rose has to give up. So if a Rose is producing shirt, it will be 2.5 hours of labor hours. Okay. That means they will lose the opportunity of producing trousers, that is divided by 4. That means their opportunity for cost is 0.625. For trousers, they will, if they produce trousers, they will lose the opportunity of producing shirts, which is 2.5. Okay, that means 1.6 is their opportunity. Opportunity cost. Okay. For Daisy, what will happen? 1 second, guys. Yes. For Daisy, what will happen? Daisy, if it is producing 4 shirts, it will have to give up producing 8 trousers. So this will be opportunity cost of 0.5. Here the same way, if it is going to produce 8 trousers, it will have to give up shirts, that is 4. So here the opportunity cost is 2. So here like this, if you do, you'll get the opportunity cost. So whoever has the least opportunity cost, they only have the comparative advantage. Here if you see, for trousers, the least opportunity cost is by Rose only. Okay, so Rose has a comparative advantage in case of trousers. In case of Daisy, who has the, in case of shirts, not in case of Daisy, in case of shirts, who has a comparative advantage? Whoever has a less opportunity cost, that is this Daisy. So here they have a comparative advantage. So absolute advantage both were taken by Daisy, but comparative advantage is taken by people or taken by the person who has low opportunity cost. That means for shirts it is Daisy and for trousers it is Rose. So those were all the questions, guys. In the middle I had left a few questions. Those few questions I will post it later directly on YouTube. Okay, you can go and refer those questions from there. So these were all the questions, and we have come towards the end of the session. Exactly 8:30 I have completed. Today we have seen around 35, okay, 34 to 35 questions. We have completed past 4-year question papers and past 6 attempts, including this attempts RTP. So how was the session, guys? I would like to know.
So yes guys, that was the end of the session. We solved a lot of questions. Hope it was useful to you guys and will help you in the exam also. So if you do like the video, if you found it useful, please do like, share it with your friends, and also subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to click on the notification icon so you get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys.